Hi, my name is Melissa Seidman from Not Another History Teacher. I'm going to show you some ways that I'm using distant learning in my classroom. I'm using a program called Padlet, and it's free to use for educators. You get a certain amount of pads that you can use with your class, and it's a really interesting way to get feedback and classroom discussions and comment boards, and it's really interesting way that I'm using it in Google Classroom. So it's a secured environment. The kids are using it. I can approve comments or not approve comments if I want to. So it is a controlled environment, and I think it gives them a nice feedback and ability to comment on what they're learning about. So I'm going to share how I use it, and if you have any questions, feel free to tag them in this video, and I will answer any of the questions that you have. So feel free to ask them. Thanks. Okay, so here is Padlet and how I use it. So I have a bunch of different Padlets created, and what Padlet is think of it like, I think of it as like an online sticky note where kids can do comments, they can have feedback, you can think of like all different ways to use this in the classroom. It's really simple to use, and I'm going to show you some ways that I'm using it in the classroom, and then I'm going to show you how to actually make your own and change the settings and all of that. So one way I'm doing it is I did an amendments review, and under the amendments review, what they did was my students commented on an amendment, and then they commented on an amendment. They added a picture of the amendment. They talked about what the amendment did for this country. And then under the amendments, I was able to add comments to their posts. So you can see all my students did different amendments. I encourage them to only use their first name, which keeps it more of anonymously. And you can see some of them use memes, some of them use pictures, some of them even use like Khan Academy or great graphic images from the time. Some used NPR clips, which is pretty neat. Some put a YouTube clip, and I can comment on their videos. So I think that was a nice way to learn amendments and review the amendments from AP Gov exam. Another way I did it is I did the guest speaker. So I have a guest speaker where students could then post on Padlet. They can write 2 to 3 sentences of what they learned from the guest speaker. Make sure you add your name. So how they typically post, this is the view that they would see. They would then click the plus sign and be able to add, I'm signed in, so my name comes up, but they would have to type their name here. They can type what they learned from the speaker, complete sentences, add pictures, something pretty engaging. They can find a link on the internet and add it here. And then you can have this collaborative board of all these different comments and all these different posts. I also have a questions for Miss Seidman board where they can add questions. So like they had a question about internships. I had someone post any update on the status of internships. I replied. They can post comments and ask me questions here. I have them doing a video where they have to watch a video about economics, and then they have to, so they can click the video. What's one thing you learned from the video? 2 to 3 sentences, just a quick, what did you learn as a key takeaway? And then it's a real collaborative board about what they learned, which I think is really neat. Another way I've done it is I posted a crime podcast assignment where my sociology class had to find a podcast that they liked. Add your name, last initial, podcast they liked, and what do you do in what did you like about it? 2 to 3 sentences, listen to part of the podcast, and then comment on someone else's post. They can then comment on other students' posts, which is kind of a neat feature to it. And then I made a Supreme Court review. I did an essay review where they had to review how we're getting tested on the AP exam for essays. And you can see here, they posted their comments, and they said, along with like a response, what they learned about their essay. Then they even commented, had questions for me, should we be motivated to take it and score well to gain a P exam? So, and then I was able to comment back on their questions and their comments, which is kind of a nice feature. How you make a Padlet is you click Make Padlet, and you have a lot of different options. You have a wall feature, which is the wall I particularly very like, the canvas feature, the stream feature, the grid feature, the shelf feature, the back channel, the map, and the timeline. So I'm going to show you a few of them that I really like. I really like the wall feature just because it looks like a wall that I've been showing you the assignments from, and you create post-its. The kids create post-its, or you can create post-its with assignments. So if I select the wall feature, and then on this right side, it gives me all the ability to edit. So I can call this assignment feedback 1, and and call it whatever assignment I wanted to. I always put in the description, add your name, add your first name, and last initial. What is one thing you learned? And I've learned, after doing this a few times, have them do 4 to 5 sentences or 8 to 10 sentences, whatever number of sentences you want them to write. And then 3, I always have them comment on another student's post. Just to get some feedback, some common things. So from here, you can decide how you want to change the wallpaper. The wallpaper is the background. And you can decide, do you want solid colors, you want gradients, you want pictures. I'm going to click pictures and just pick like a windmill for fun. And then you go back to that main screen. You can choose the font, the color, all of that. You can display the author's name in the post. So I usually turn that on and only have them do their first name. I can turn on comments or turn off comments. So if I only want kids to post, I can turn off comments so I don't want comments going. And then that's a nice feature you can do. You can also add reactions. So reactions are feedback to each other's posts. So I could have them heart their post if they like the post. I could have them vote. I can have them give stars or grade specific post if I want them to give scores to the post. I always do approval required. So approval required is a really neat feature. It requires a moderator to approve it, which means if someone was to post, I then need to have a comment approved, and it will literally say approved comment or not approved comment. So I always do this just for security purposes. It helps to make sure that no one's posting on there that you shouldn't be posting on. And then I always check filter profanity. So it filters any kind of inappropriate words also at the same time. From here, I click on the next button, and then I can start posting. So my students' view would look just like this. This is the instructions. If you had an assignment with a link, you could post the URL here, and then they'd be able to click the URL. As a student, they would click this plus sign, and then start titling their assignment. I really enjoyed the book. I learned about blah, 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 blah. And you get the point. I learned about, and they can fill in what they want. And then they click enter, and it posts on the wall. And then as a student, I can add hearts if I really like the comments. I turned off commenting, but you could have comments to the post, and you can see what that typically looks like. You can always go back and edit any of the Padlets by clicking this edit icon. It looks like a flower in the top right-hand corner. You can share it. So if you want to share, you can click share icon, and from share, you get all these cool features of sharing, whether you want to share right to Google Classroom, you want to share the link, the URL. If you want to embed it in your blog or website, you can email it, save as an image, save as a PDF, save as a spreadsheet, or even just print it if you want an old school copy. Share to Google Classroom is a really easy feature. So you click share to Google Classroom. It's going to automatically pull up your Google Classroom if you're signed in. I am going to switch my settings and make sure I'm on the right email account. And then from there, it's going to link to my classroom, and then it's going to pull up my classes. It's loading, so it'll take some time. Hopefully you have some questions, link it in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer. I can select which class I want it to go to, choose an action. Do I want it as an assignment? Do I want a question? Do I want an announcement, or do I want to create? Or you can also just copy the link and paste it in Google Classroom yourself, or whatever learning platform you're using. If you're not happy with what you created, you can always click this edit site settings button and then change whatever options you want. You can always do it after the fact, which is a nice feature. Under Padlet, I've learned that a really quick way to get back to that home screen is if you click this Padlet icon. It brings you back to the dashboard, and it walks you through all the different options. And then from here, you can archive it, delete the Padlet if you're not using it, and set it up how you want to set it up, which is kind of nice. There's Canvas feature, which allows you to connect different content. So imagine if you had a story and you're an elementary teacher, you can connect the story beginning, middle, and end. If you want to stream, it's kind of like a website where you stream down the page. So instead of having those random post-its like I had with a wall, you can have a random stream. A grid allows you to arrange content in boxes. A shelf is really interesting. It creates different categories. So you could create World War II category, or US history category, or global category, whatever you want to create, and you can create categories, and then it will create post-its down that category. Back channel is more like a chat in the chat-like environment. A map is the map of the world, and then you can add key things around the world. And then a timeline feature allows you to create a timeline, which is a really neat thing. So again, I hope you enjoyed this quick Padlet instruction. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'm using it with my classes and they're loving the discussion. They're loving the quick instant feedback. I'm really liking that they're collaborating in a different type of environment. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Happy to help. And I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks. Bye.